This is Danny from Baltimore, Maryland, representing one of the 6 Wolves fans in Baltimore. You're listening to DU Football Show.
The Wolves and Danny had themselves a Saturday.
Yeah, but I only count 2 of them, though.
That's true. I was following him on Twitter. He went 10 plus hours of good solid drinking. He kept it up on date for us on Twitter.
That's great.
So
Awesome.
I was very proud of the man.
I got to get the Twitter log.
We'll talk about that.
All right.
Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of Malört. Looks great in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by 2 common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me, you know, at least she's not 19-year-old.
She's 99, baby. She's 99 every time.
My co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. Sammy, how you doing there, buddy?
I imagine this is what a 90-year-old tastes like, too. Chemicals and booze.
You see, Sam, first you buy the bucket, then you fill it with ice, and then you party. Hence why it's called a party bucket.
This is like that. I can't remember the name of the comedian, but there was somebody that did direction. He analyzed the directions on the side of the Pop-Tart box, which is quite funny. And one of them was like removed from package. It's like, oh, really? I got to take this out of the foil? Fuck. Yeah. Brilliant.
Fucking
Add
brilliant.
ice and party, huh?
Add ice and party. It's delightful. Mel, do you
Produced
want
by
more of it?
Polynesian Products Company from Louisville, Kentucky. Someone tells me that's taking the
Come
piss.
on, give me another hit of my 20s.
Keep it. You can keep it.
We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and share with a footballing friend. Should you want to chat with us, there's many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Just you got to get in touch and tell us what Mel's face looked like. That was from this angle was fucking hysterical. It's at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email.
Got to tell you what, the brand new Drip Shack is on fire.
Did you see the pint glass showing up?
Our boy Jared out in Hawaii got his
Hawaii.
got
I
his
love it.
DU pint glass. Post a little picture of him drinking a beer. Fucking love that. You can find the DU Drip Shack on every single one of our socials. Our link tree is pinned to the top of each one of our pages. Has every place to go, including our DU Drip Shack. And
That's
we
right.
have
And
we have a great new logo for the show, by the way. A great cartoon graphic
Of
of
us,
myself and Graham, and it's really great. You should check it out.
I was like, we actually do own the URL, DU Drip Shack,
Yeah, motherfucker.
because that's how we spend Patreon money.
Yeah.
So we're gonna need you to sign up at least 3 friends this week, please. That URL is not cheap.
Fucking brilliant. I love it. So yeah, keep buying the stuff, show it around. It's fucking great.
It's
So,
awesome. I'm actually getting myself together for what I'm buying finally.
Okay.
We're through the holidays. Everything's now back to normal. Finances are back in order
Right.
after having 3 birthdays in 2 weeks.
Yeah. It was
Then a
little
couple of
expensive.
holidays for a lot of people, all that kind of shit. So everything's getting back to normal, and I'm going to be buying myself some stuff.
I think a pint glass with y'all's faces on it makes an excellent Valentine's Day gift.
I would say so.
Could accompany a Valentine's Day video, too.
What? Are we going back to Valentine's Day?
I kind of like it.
Okay, we'll do it. We'll go at old school this year.
Oh, Christian, you do not know what you are in. Well, no, you sent him.
I
didn't-
sent him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know
Christian,
what?
get
Or
ready what you're in for.
we could skip Valentine's Day if you want, and we could just do the weird holidays like we did before.
President's Day.
President's
the last one
Day.
was pretty great.
We got to pick a good one. I figured your holiday video this year would be St. Patrick's Day, since you both have kilts.
Ah.
My kilt's Scottish, though. Well, he
Oh.
was Scottish.
Well,
Yeah.
so is Houston. So what do you
Yeah.
want?
Well, that's good.
Wear kilts.
What are we? Never mind. That could be bad. Say we should pick odd holidays. Like I was gonna say Columbus Day, then I remembered it was Indigenous Peoples Day. Then I remembered that's probably racist if we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying it aloud and backtracking
It was
through your
bad.
head's probably not the
not
way
a
you
good
should,
thing. Because I was thinking about oddball holidays, and I was like, "Oh, let's do Columbus Day," and I was like, "Wait a second, that's not Columbus Day anymore."
You understand?
Yeah.
That, right? Okay. Very good. Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Mr. Graham, the list rolls on, and before we even get started, before you read about it, big shout out to my girl Jillian, who is one of my counterparts in Texas, and for the company I work for, and she managed to find this bottle when we could not find it anywhere. We will talk about some of the price. She got it for me at SRP. It no go for SRP on the internet anymore.
No.
In fact, it goes for like 3x SRP on the internet now.
That's right.
So
the newest edition of the Drip Shack is whiskey that has touched our lips that we've spit back into a 100 ml bottle, and we're selling it for $400 a piece, like those YouTubers that sell their farts or whatever.
Exactly.
Belle Delphine, who was that girl?
I poured this
Sold
at
her
sound
bathwater,
check.
right?
I've yet to take a sip,
Me
so
either.
I'm waiting to go. Tell us
Gotcha. All
about
right.
it.
So this is number 13. This is Fireball Canadian Whiskey. I'm just kidding. This is a real company guy there. Just kidding. For those of you that don't know, I started representing Sazerac today, and everybody's making fun of me for it, including my store owners, because it took me 3 hours to accomplish one store.
Yes.
Because there's so many SKUs. Anyway, yeah. So now we're back to the list. Anyway, number 13. This is the Miyagikyo Peated, 96% 96 proof, 48% by volume. This SRP is $275, is what it says in the journal or in the Whisky Advocate. We got it for what, $260?
$250.
$250. Panel rating was 94. This is a Japanese single malt, and your blurb comes to you.
This is Nikka, by
via
the way, right?
David Fleming. What?
You said Miyako, but it's Nikka, right?
Nikka is the brand.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
this is
didn't
their
catch that.
Miyagikyo.
Miyagikyo. Very good.
Miyagikyo. Miyagikyo. David Fleming brings you the blurb today from Whisky Advocates tasting panel. This is the conventional understanding of Nikka's two distilleries, is that Yoichi whiskeys are smoky while Miyagikyo expressions are light and fruity. Here, Nikka disrupts that thinking in a marriage of peat smoke with all that Miyagikyo has to offer. The nose starts with lemon, apricot, and poached pear. As the smoke gently emerges, the palate offers vanilla, caramel, and a layered, subtle peat smoke that is positively ethereal. There is lots more to explore. If Nikka hoped to break the mold and venture into new spaces, it has succeeded admirably with this masterpiece. So let's give it a go. Very subtle smoke on the nose, almost nothing really. What you expect from a peated whiskey like a Lafroig or those
You
other
expect that
examples. It's
campfire.
a big campfire, and there's not that here.
By the way, I broke out the Riedels for tonight.
Yeah,
too.
so you know what this reminds me of, honestly. Just on the nose, is that Glenfiddich Fire and Cane?
Okay.
It's sweetness up front, and then you get that nice just hint of smoke on the back. Smokier than the nose would lead on. Not overly smoky. Doesn't overpower anything.
There's no iodine or Band-Aid to it. It's this nice kind of consistent smoke.
Big citrus up front, and then it finishes on this this floral note that you would typically see out of Speyside. Again, like I said.
So what I also did for us today,
I don't mind it.
We are drinking a $250 bottle of a $275 bottle of whiskey. I also went ahead and got us some spring water as well. There's two ways. Whenever you see or hear somebody saying adding a touch of water to a single malt, right? There's a couple ways you can do it. First and foremost, always use bottled water. If you use tap water, you introduce the outside allergens or contaminants that could affect the whiskey. Now you can just take like so and pour a drop in, or you can use one of these trusty eyedroppers as well. I'm about to do for Mel. And just throw a couple of drops in there. What you're ultimately looking for is just a little bit of translucent change in the whiskey itself. You'll see the kind of the oils
Get a little
separate.
cloudy.
Yeah, you'll see the oil start to separate a little bit. And what this will typically do is it'll, quote, open up the whiskey a little bit more. It kind of just dilutes a little bit of the back end heat and just opens up a little bit more of the floral notes.
Just allow those flavors to stand out a bit more and get rid of the alcohol heat. Not fully, but it just takes the bite off of it.
That is a definite noticeable change. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the third way.
A little more sharpness to the front to it.
I'll tell you the third way that you can apply your water, but that's for DU After Dark, which you can find, also known as Injury Time, at patreon.com/DU excuse me, I was corrected by Mike Rogers. Patreon.com/
Senator?
DU Football Show.
The Great Liver Puttian.
From Vauxhall.
Christian wants to know, is Graham going to be a Buffalo Trace fanboy like me now?
No. Buffalo Trace is good whiskey. It's fine. But it is on the much sweeter end. And for me is kind of one-dimensional. It's not bad whiskey, don't get me wrong. But it's just, that and Blanton's are two that I think aren't all what they're cracked up to be. You move on to like Eagle Rare, some of the higher-end E.H. Taylors, that you're getting into some fun, crazy stuff. Stag Juniors, George T. Stagg, all that kind of stuff.
The Weller LaRue.
The Wellers, yeah.
The LaRue
and the LaRue is,
oh my God.
Yeah. You're getting into some really fun stuff, but Buffalo Trace and Blanton's are kind of batch-made bourbons. Why they're not more readily available, I don't know. They have the juice. They just don't release it.
Yeah.
But so I like the whiskey. Don't get me wrong. If I'm offered it, I'm not going to turn it down. But they are kind of one-dimensional for me, honestly, which I'm sad to say.
I'm looking forward to you getting your hands on is some of the cheap, more accessible stuff like the ancient or old age or origin age. Like there's some stuff that's just like basically $15 bourbon from them. That's some
Kentucky Gentleman.
Not just Kentucky Gentleman. There's
Very Old Bartons.
Yeah, Very Old Barton is one.
Benchmark. The 8-year-old.
Another. Yeah.
Yep.
Dirt cheap and good.
Got all of it.
Good. Yeah. Dirt cheap and good.
Hit me up.
Yep.
If you buy 600 cases by June, you can maybe get one bottle of Pappy in October.
Oh, yay. How about that? Love it. Very good. Now, the one thing I will say, a $250 bottle of whiskey does not need to be on this top 20.
No.
we
say this every year. Yeah.
This list, when they themselves
this year there was what, 3 this year? Something like that.
2 over 250 and 1 at 175. And we were fortunate enough to get all 3, well, 2 of them at SRP, and one of them's later on down the list. And we got the 175 one from a friend. So we were fortunate to not have to end up being charged for that one. But God, like, just there's no need. There's really
there
no
really
need.
isn't.
It's a magnificent whiskey, but it's also a super limited edition. Legitimately could not find it on the East Coast. It was never sold in our market. It was never sold in DC.
In New York?
It was, yeah.
In Florida?
Yeah.
We couldn't find it.
It was in Texas. Yeah, so...
Yeah. But luckily, you and I, over the years, have kind of cultivated a nice network of people that, you know, and we are who we are, you know, not to pat ourselves on the back too much, but people like us.
Yeah. We're able
to figure it out. So,
but
it's none of you lot that are watching right now, y'all didn't help with nothing.
But no, only a good handful of give us fucking money every month, Sam. So you should shut the fuck up.
Nah.
But all of that being said, it is a phenomenal whiskey.
Yeah, it's definitely very good whiskey.
I'm glad we were able to get it. I'm glad we didn't have to overpay for it. If we would have had to overpay for it, I'd
be disappointed.
Very disappointed.
But over $150 as a general rule of thumb, I don't particularly think it's worth it in general.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, one, you're having 1 glass a year, probably, if it costs that much money. Maybe 2, Christmas and your birthday.
Yeah.
You know, maybe President's Day, you know, to honor those that came before us. But other than, I mean, you're drinking it. The whole point of drinking, right, is one, for flavor, sure, great, but ultimately to get drunk. And if you have 4 glasses in a sitting, one, the 4th isn't going to taste the same. And you just, in 4 glasses of whiskey of a bottle that's this expensive, you spent $85 to get drunk.
Yeah.
That's why people drink Keystone Ice. It's because they can spend $15 for 30 beers and be pilt.
I drink Ice House because it's tasty.
Sure you do.
What else should we do, Mr. Graham?
Always remember to drink responsibly.
Let's have a good show, kids.
These aren't Riedels, right?
These are Riedels.
Oh, these are Riedels? Yeah. Can always tell.
Got that nice little ting to him, huh? All right.
That doesn't work when I'm holding it.
Top 2 clubs.
Still doesn't work.
Can I go ahead and do the intro for the segment? Sir?
Sorry, I was trying to do the.
I mean, I know you
whistle
were.
thing.
I was just going to make sure. I didn't want to, ruin your time. Okay. Kids, there's a show to do. Put the fucking glasses down.
I don't want to talk about this.
Top 2 clubs each faced a set of setbacks at away clubs that have caused them headaches over the past few seasons. Everton 1, Arsenal 0, Tottenham 1, Man City 0. All right. Hey, Mel, let me go ahead and grab this and do what I got to do every week. It's time for...
No. Houston.
What's that?
Houston, you actually didn't lose this week.
Oh, you mean I don't have to take the shot of Malört?
No.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and pour that shot of Malört for Graham right now because I want this taste in his mouth throughout the entire segment.
That's the cruelest thing, is to follow up that excellent whiskey with that Malört.
There you go, Mr. Graham.
I put my hair like this so I don't have to look at you during it. It's embarrassing when you watch.
The shameful face. So the Dyche era begins at Everton, and honestly, in the first half, outside of the ball that got cleared off the line by Cody, which really wasn't all that tough of a clear away, Everton had far and away the better chances.
Saka had one very good chance in the game. I think he may have scraped the outside of the post, but other than that, Arsenal didn't really create much. It was very flat from them. And these are the types of games that we normally have gotten through this season, where in seasons past we didn't. But we haven't won at Goodison Park, I don't know if you know this, since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 6 years since we've won at that ground.
Draws or losses. The last 3 in a row have been losses.
Yep. So it's kind of a bogey ground for us. In general, Burnley was a bogey team rather for Arsenal, and you put the Goodison Park with Sean Dyche, extra bogey. So there was no way for us to really get through this. I called you on Wednesday, or Thursday when you started to feel ill. And I kind of perked you up a bit with my assessment of it.
You're like this game worries me.
It's for me. The loss wasn't even on my mind. It was an ugly 1-1 or a 0-0 draw is what I had firmly in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The point being is dropped points, but for Sean Dyche to show up at Everton and it end up being a Dwight McNeil corner to a James Tarkowski header that does it in, just smacks of I don't like you, Merseyside lot. To the point where, in his post-match interview with a radio station, little slip of the tongue, Mikel Arteta said, "We had a really tough time at Burnley today."
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Too funny.
And think about it. Besides the fact that Sean Dyche is not synonymous with Burnley in general, it sounds like a dig, right? At Arteta's trying to levy at Everton.
Yeah.
How could it be? Because he was a fucking captain for 8 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he forgot. Sean Dyche had that profound of an effect that he forgot he was at the club that he played at.
And
This is fucking ridiculous.
It wasn't like the Manchester City draw where, go ahead and enjoy that.
Mel,
stud.
you want to take a photo?
It wasn't like the
It has
Manchester
been a
City
while.
For
draw
only the second time this season. Yep.
where Frank put 11 behind the ball and they just managed to hold on, and it took some big saves and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Remember that old friend? How did you enjoy it there, buddy? Oh, yeah. That's a good-looking face. There we go. Good job, bud. Proud of you.
We might have to change that to a Leicester Cup, by the way. Newcastle's doing well. Oh, that's good. My hair looks really gray there. Jesus.
So where this
Pro
one,
hair agenda.
it wasn't Everton sitting back and withstanding a ton of pressure, because there would have been a lot more shots than 13 and a lot more shots than 3 on target. This was more of Everton kind of in the middle of the pitch disrupting things, and this really came to 3 fucking people, and I've been waiting to see them do this, and Frank would never do it because Decore somehow fell out of favor. Decore, Onana, and Ghana. Wow. I mean, bossed it, and they just decided you're not going to get to play through Odegaard, and Odegaard's not going to get to create for you. I mean, so much to the point where he had to sub out Odegaard and sub out Partey as well. Partey was obviously because of the injury too, but he needed to sub in a guy like Jorginho just to see if he could get some fucking passes together.
Just do something, yeah. Arsenal looked bereft of ideas at times, but Arsenal had chances. You would expect, and it has happened 8-9 times this season. Odegaard to put that one chance away that he skied.
Yeah.
That Martinelli cut back to him.
Yep.
And that's happened. It wasn't hitting for Arsenal on Saturday. Couple that with Sean Dyche doing what he does with the team, has a full week to work. You had last weekend, we didn't have a game, right? So I think a little bit of a lull set in there as well because there was no competitive football for 10 days while the FA Cup 4th round was happening. And we just lost a little bit of our edge in that time frame, and we just looked flat. It just wasn't great. Like I said, we did create some chances, but they were either not on target or easily saved.
I would like to think that.
But if I was a betting, and I am a betting man, because of Mikalenko and some of the things that we said, like I bet on Saka to score.
Yeah.
He shaved the outside of the post, but that was it. On a different day, we saw last week or 2 weeks ago, he hit the post and scored just inside the post.
Honestly, what Mikalenko ended up doing, because you could tell it was a mismatch, and you could tell Saka was going to beat him. Mikalenko just started beating up on him.
Yeah.
Just started beating up on him.
Well, it's Sean Dyche. That's the way. If you can't beat him, get in their face.
I would like to think Dyche around the 70th minute grabbed good old little Neil Lespay and brought him up next to him and goes, "All right, son, what I need you to do is go out there, and there's going to be a big jar of shit in the middle of the field. I need to take this big bowl and need you to stir it. Stir it real fucking good."
He was a bit cunty. Neil Mickless.
The minute he felt like he was getting fouled, he'd go down. Got a ton of calls. And honestly, if you think about it, he probably shaved a good 3-4 minutes of that match. Not even the scuffle at the end, but just
Zinchenko. Besides that, Sean Dyche just gets in your head, right? His teams just get in your head. Zinchenko, who's been very, very calm, collected, and professional since he's been at Arsenal, has lifted the mentality, was caught with his hand in the cookie jar on a make less dive.
Yeah, Perhaps Casemiro should have been watching that little scuffle and go,
well, we'll talk about that soon.
This is how you handle a scuffle.
I'd like to see his Pornhub search history. Because Casemiro has to be into some BDSM type shit. Interracial BDSM, because remember it was Casper the Friendly Midfielder, Will Hughes.
Daddy choke me. Oh, okay. Anywho, this is really...
Interracial stepdaddy choke me.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Will Hughes is the whitest person in the league.
Ultimately, for both sides, it's very safe to say this is one game.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to get to it. You get let off the hook. And for Everton, you're still in 18th place. You're still in the relegation zone. This is one match with the new manager. It's now got to be move on to the derby.
Yeah,
that's where your brain set and your mindset's got to be. It's let's worry about the next game. Let's worry about getting out of where we are.
But also, for once, you didn't lose ground on anybody and actually gain ground on a couple of teams.
Yeah.
Further distance yourself from Southampton.
And jumped over Bournemouth.
Right? And then, but you didn't lose ground to Leicester. You didn't lose any ground to Forest. You didn't, the other teams that we think are going to be there. You didn't lose ground to Wolves.
Yep. Leeds is now tied with
Leeds,
us.
right, exactly. Leeds firing Jesse Marsh, obviously, this morning as well.
We're going to talk about that as well.
Yeah. So what you did was you gained some confidence, and you saw some things here that you could build from.
But
it was a cohesive performance. I mean, the whole team was pulling in the same direction the whole time.
That was one of the things we've talked about multiple times.
What you've lacked
is where Frank, it doesn't seem like they knew what they were doing under Frank.
Right, and I told you how many times this season
what they were doing.
How many times have the board is a problem.
Yeah.
But separately, Frank was not getting the best out of the players.
Right.
You have a half decent squad.
Yeah.
But Frank was not doing his job.
It's I was happy as hell, and now for me as a supporter, it's like I'm already onto the derby. That's where my brain is. It's already there because. Yeah, it was great to get a W, and I loved it. And it's fun to get a piss on you, get one over. But, another browse history search probably for Casemiro.
You're just a shit Newcastle. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. There it was. Chance for City to get it to 2 points. And they fuck it right off.
I don't know if De Bruyne pissed him off or if this was a Pep overthinking job.
It sounds like a Pep overthinking job from the pregame presser that he said it was purely tactical and that he wanted to line up differently against Tottenham.
Purely tactical. to bench the best creative midfielder in the world.
Yeah, that's
But City also looked bereft of ideas. They looked, even when De Bruyne came on, they were off the pace. I mean, they were slow. They had a majority of the chances. They had a majority of the ball. Spurs actually had more shots on target than City did. They couldn't get Haaland the ball. And Christian Romero was...
What are you doing?
No, not what are you doing? I mean, he loves it. He absolutely loves it.
That first yellow was just
4 or 5 minutes, he went and just absolutely cleaned Haaland out.
Yeah.
And you can see every time Haaland was going looking for the ball to be played to him, he was looking over his shoulder. Like, where's Romero? And now the second one I think was really stupid.
Yeah.
But he also posted still shots on his story and his Instagram of him being shown both cards and walking off were 3 of the 5 photos. God bless. Were 3 of the 5 photos. So he fully is bought in on what he did was like perfect. He's an underrated shithouse, I think.
Oh yeah, and
Christian Romero.
Also on the other side of the pitch, Royale and Edison Royale and Jack Grealish having themselves a tussle every single time they touch the ball.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They
constantly throwing each other around, constantly fuck with each other. Royal getting more of the big tackles, more of the big stops, and just.
But then Romero apparently didn't think he was doing it hard enough and decided to take matters into his own hands.
Let me do it harder.
I got it. Yeah. Interestingly enough, another search history nugget from Casemiro. I want it harder.
I want it harder. But we are burying the headline. Harry Kane now passes the great Jimmy Greaves.
Never heard of either of them.
As the all-time goal scorer. Hey. You've already done some Malört, so stop being so bitter. If this was any other team,
he's one of their own. You're right.
You would acknowledge the fact that someone became the all-time scorer for their club. He's the all-time scorer for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, 267 passing Jimmy Greaves, the late great Jimmy Greaves. 266 goals. The funniest part I thought was his post-match on the field when they ran up to him and said, like, Harry Kane, how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, I can't really put it in words, to be honest. And I was like, well, in my head thinking, probably because we wouldn't understand it anyway. You just don't even want to say it. But yeah, well done to the mouth-breathing twat. He did it. He is now Spurs' all-time leading goal scorer, still having no trophies.
Now only a point out of 4th place.
Yes.
And getting back into
But Brighton's still hot on their heels.
Yep.
So it's going to be an interesting top 4 race because Newcastle seem to be occasionally playing to not lose as opposed to win.
Right.
They're still having a little bit of difficulty putting the ball in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see where they actually finish. They also now have a chance at a trophy for the first time in 28 years or something.
With the League Cup.
The League Cup. So these next few weeks, are they going to be fully focused on the league, or is it going to be this holding pattern of try not to lose? I mean, Newcastle right now are the epitome of the NFL's prevent defense.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't give up the big play.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's it. They're not really taking the game by the scruff of the neck in any sense.
Right. Exactly.
So Spurs seem to look a little bit better without Conte on the sidelines. Obviously, he was homesick. He had his gallbladder removed. Yep. But apparently FaceTimed Harry Kane after the game to congratulate him. Aw. A rare show of emotion from such a hard bastard.
And then this morning, the bombshell. The English Premier League has set down sanctions on, or has not laid down sanctions, but has officially charged, that's what I was looking for, has officially charged Manchester City with violations to the financial fair play rule.
Yes. You would imagine Chelsea will be having that conversation soon enough as well. But you have to turn your books in at the end of the year, and they have forensic accountants that go through everything, and they see if you're found in breach of the rules, and City obviously are. So we'll see what happens. We kind of all know how it goes, though. It could be up to and including expulsion from the league,
which won't happen.
That won't happen. It could be a points deduction,
which won't happen.
That won't happen because they want. And UEFA also want City in the Champions League. They want these things to happen. They need their cash cows.
Mm-hmm.
And typically try not to piss off oil-rich states when you're a Western country. So City will be there or thereabouts again this season without, regardless of what these sanctions are. I imagine.
Because Champions League had a chance to suspend them for violation
And
of
they
it,
didn't.
and they did not.
Correct.
I think they gave them a $40 million fine. No, it was because it was a $20 million fine for trying to do the Super League, because that we're going to teach them.
21 million, yeah, I think, for all 6 clubs.
Yeah, we're going to teach them a lesson.
That was the FA's thing. But apparently, what I found interesting in this is the language was a little bit different. And there was a little caveat in towards the end of the statement from the Premier League that said that they will not have the opportunity to appeal this to the Court for Arbitration of Sport, which is interesting.
So when they do their rulings and they lay down their sanctions,
it's final.
It's final. They cannot appeal it.
Say there is a 5-point deduction. A lot of times they'll have a stay because they'll appeal it to the Court for Arbitration of Sport, and they take 6 months or whatever it is to go through it. Season's over. They can deal with a 5-point deduction next season. If it's upheld, fine, no problem. But they can't do that appeal. So whatever penalty comes down will probably be instantaneous. They could do something like they did to Derby or Reading, whoever it was last season, where the points deduction got postponed to the following season.
Right.
We'll see what happens. I don't know, but I don't imagine there's going to be a point deduction. Always you can't never say never, obviously, but there's a 99.9 chance there's no expulsion and there's no points deduction. It'll be a massive fine and probably a transfer window ban. Ultimately, what it boils down to for City, though, because they don't have a very loyal fan base in general. We make fun of them all the time for having mostly corporate fans and everything else.
Checkbook FC.
What happens with a transfer ban? Does Pep Guardiola stay and tarnish his legacy of being a winning coach because he can't bring in any new players or fresh ideas? Or does he fuck off? Because without being able to spend all of that oil money, who's going there? They're going to fall back into the regular rotation of big European club coaches, and we've already seen people like Ancelotti, like some of them are a little bit past their prime.
And some of them will get a song out of the team for a season or two, but it's not going to be anything
No, but then you
sustainable.
end up changing the manager every time. I mean, It's still dreary Manchester. You still have, the wage package is what's going to draw players, but now with this financial fair play breach, you're going to be looked at harder. So it's entirely possible that City could suffer on the back end of this because they can't attract top level talent and management.
Well, they're also not able to do what they typically do, because this is what they did early on was, frankly, take players from you. Like you saw them do that with Nasri being the best.
Nasri, Colo Torre, a few of them, yeah.
And then Chelsea
Gail
did
Clichy.
it too. Chelsea did it too with Fabregas, and so it's Manchester United did it with the striker,
Robin van Persie.
Persie, it just that kind of stuff. It happens quite a bit, and
City did it with Adebayor too.
Yeah, so that's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna. I just don't see it happening, to be honest with you.
I don't either, but like I said, the ultimate ramifications that could snowball from a transfer ban for a year or 3 windows or whatever, that could be what's actually detrimental to City.
Right. Now, for me, I find that not a damn thing's going to happen. There'll be a $100 million fine. Maybe there'll be a year transfer ban, maybe. And there will be a brief statement that says this matter has been put to rest. Move on. Nothing to see here.
Yeah. More than likely, yes. It's just
this-
like a rich person getting accused with a crime here in this country.
If this was Leeds, if this was Villa, if this was Wolverhampton, if this was West Ham, if this was an old storied club that's been in the Premier League, that's got this kind of history to it, right? They'd get the same $100 million fine. They'd get the same transfer ban. They'd also get a 15-point points deduction. There'd be a giant press conference about it, with the Premier League standing up there going, look at us saving football. Because they would never dare do that to a single one of the top 6 sides, because piss off one of those top 6 sides enough, and somebody like City will go, you know what? We don't have really close ties to the English Premier League. Hey, Juventus. Hey, Madrid, Barca. You guys still interested in doing that Super League thing? Let's fucking talk about that. And all 6 of those teams, and this is, your team has done it right. You have done your books correctly. Liverpool does their books correctly. Tottenham does their books correctly. Manchester United,
I don't know about, but they do
Manchester
the books.
United is so fucking rich. I mean, they have everyone in China owns a Manchester United jersey. They're never going to be found for fault of financial fair play because they just have that. They literally have that much money.
That's the other piece of the city argument that I'm saying. They're not even the biggest club in their own town.
Precisely.
That's the other piece of it, right? Is Manchester United, if they finish in 10th, can still attract talent because of who they are.
But clubs like Chelsea and City, and they are not bringing in that kind of money. But the problem is ultimately the English Football League cannot.
They can't survive without the top six
because they could leave, and it's going to be this little slap on the wrist. And I think there could be a transfer ban, but it's going to be
there's already the precedent for it, what they did to Chelsea, obviously. Right. So, but that does hurt teams at the top tier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we saw it with De Bruyne is 31 now, and he's kind of being a dick and being acting kind of petty and everything else. If they can't bring in somebody to replace him, they could fall out of Champions League.
Right.
They could. I mean, ultimately, it won't mean anything for them because they're backed by a state, right? So it'll be fine. But for a team like that, if Pep goes, I think they could fall in some hard times and finish mid-table 3-4 seasons in a row.
Right. It could happen. But the money's there to rebound and go right.
Of course,
back in.
Yeah. No, of course,
so Nothing really
and again,
changes,
as you say. But that's all over the world, in every country and everything else. It happens in Russia. It happens in England. The government. Everybody is beholden to these rich cunts that control everything, and that's where we stand with these guys.
So good news, Graham. What's going to end up happening? This is going to fire up City. They're now going to make their famous charge. They're going to go on and win the league. And at the end of the season, you, much like Liverpool, are going to be bitching and moaning about how if they should have gotten a points deduction and you should be the real title holders. But the truth of the matter will be is both of you lost the league at Goodison Park.
I actually have a good reply to that, but I'm going to let you live on your zinger.
Yeah, there you go.
Dick.
You're quite welcome. Love you too, Graham. A couple of big results for other relegation battling sides this weekend, along with Everton. Wolverhampton 3. By the way, they beat Arsenal 1-0. So Wolverhampton 3, Liverpool 0, even though Klopp would tell you it was 2-0.
I am going to do it. Okay, I am going to do it. This, if we do win the title, this will be the third time White Hart Lane has played a part in that.
All right, good.
Thanks, boys.
West Ham 1, Newcastle 1. Liverpool's woes at the back continue.
Oh, yeah.
Quick, and here's the worst part about that own goal, and I feel like I'm being an apologist for Liverpool. It's like the most unhappinable thing. A ball coming back in that hits off the back of his leg that goes the other direction.
Off his trail leg, hits the inside of his thigh, behind the other leg, into the far corner. It was so strange. If he doesn't attempt to tackle that, you'd be mad at him.
Right.
If he doesn't attempt to block it.
Allison, just being a former keeper, I know I would be sitting there just looking at that one going in, going, seriously, the fuck? The actual fuck? God damn, man, we just started the fucking game. They give up a quick goal right after that to fucking Dawson, and the woes just fucking continue. It just seems to be getting worse and worse. This was the game I thought Liverpool could win. Get a little rebound. Get a little pep in their step. And Wolves came to fucking play, dude.
Yeah, they did. I did feel bad for Adama Traore, who was trying to look like not Happy Gilmore. What's his name? Waterboy.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he made that
Bobby
play?
Boucher.
Yeah, Bobby Boucher.
Because Bobby Boucher when I played the foosball.
He slap hands when he was standing in the end zone. Adama went over to try to slap hands with Ruben Neves, and he just wasn't happy. He was like, yeah, but I scored the goal. I'm good. Thank you. Get away. This is my moment. But yeah, but the winner of the day is Wolves' social media team. Did you see what they did?
No. Please go.
They had two screenshots side by side. One was the post-match comments of one Mr. Jurgen Klopp that said that he doesn't count the third goal because that was the only time the whole half they crossed the halfway line.
Right.
So Wolves looked like a magazine cover, had Neves ruining a chance like this, right? The hands on head like, oh, fuck, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it had Wolves 2-0, and it listed the goal scorers underneath of it, and then Neves crossed out. So they still would have won 2-0.
They still would have won 2-0.
What are you talking about? But yeah, it was. I mean, Liverpool edged a lot of the offensive statistics. They had more shots. They had more shots on goal. I feel like it's going to happen for them eventually, but they're lacking so much in intensity. They just don't. They're not the same. This is not heavy metal football. This is 97.1 Watch FM. This is fucking soft rock stuff at best. I mean, this particular game, you might as well have flipped on the fucking jazz channel. It was such smooth sailing yacht rock, maybe. What is that called?
Yep, yacht rock.
It's just like fucking Margaritaville nonsense here.
Yacht rock football. I love it.
Yeah, that's what they're playing this season. There's just no intensity whatsoever. Mo Salah looks like he's the only one that's trying, and he only does that 2/3 of the game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It just, Wolves came with the intensity. The same thing Everton did, really.
Mm-hmm.
They came with the intensity. They got in their face. They hurried and rushed them. And whatever they weren't able to clean up, Jose Sa was.
Well, we were talking about earlier in the season that the problem that they were having wasn't scoring goals. They've gone out and they've gotten a bunch of pieces. Feels like Lopetegui's going to make those pieces work, and they're going to be okay. He's a good
coach. He's just a dickhead for quitting on Spain 2 days before the World Cup.
Yeah.
Well, Spain fired him because he openly took the Real Madrid job post-World Cup.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But either way, this is, what are you going to do? This is what happens when you play fucking, Margaritaville football.
Klopp has till the end of the season, right?
I would think so. I think he may have beyond that. Who are you going to trust Thomas Tuchel to do a rebuild? I mean, look what he did at Chelsea. When they won something at Chelsea was the season he inherited a squad.
This team also doesn't need a full rebuild. If everybody's healthy, their
entire midfield needs to be changed. Their entire midfield needs to be changed. They do need defensive reinforcements, and Nunez is a bust, in my opinion.
Okay, I think they could still get something out of Nunez. But
I think Diogo Jota's injury is more important than anybody made out to be.
Oh, huge.
And I also think that Firmino not playing as much is more important than anybody.
Diaz as well.
Made it out to be.
Missing Diaz.
Diaz's injury was bad because he looked a like-for-like Mane reploplayment. Played at that high intensity, just tried shit, and most of the time it came off because he's a good player. Nunez tries shit, and you go, what are you doing? Why?
So the Magpies come out fucking flying.
Yep.
And then completely fuck it off.
Yep.
Because the rest of that match, it was West Ham, dude. It was fucking West Ham the rest of that match.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle had a bit of a go here and there. They had some spells, but they were patchy at best in terms of when they were on top in the game. And what you've come to expect from them this season is they're on top in most games.
Right.
And they just weren't. With Newcastle scoring very early, it could have been a very different story, except for VAR saw to that and ruined former Arsenal player Joe Willock's day. And ruled his goal out for offside.
My fantasy team appreciates that because my opponent had Willock.
45 seconds later, though, Callum Wilson ensured they actually did take the lead. Very composed finish, I thought, from him. Finishing on the run on his weaker foot. Paqueta, though, just over 10 minutes before halftime, leveled. And then there were tons of shots and crosses throughout the rest of the game, but both defenses dealt with everything. And all in all, there only ended up being 3 total shots on target.
Yeah.
So, it was organized from both sides. It was a great defensive display again from Newcastle, limiting West Ham to only 1 goal because you're right, they did have a few more opportunities in Newcastle, I'd say. But the West Ham defense did well to block every cross that was put in. It did well to block shots before they were even a threat. So I thought both teams played well.
Since that City 3-3 draw, you might score. You ain't scoring a second on them. That's for damn sure.
Right.
Like you're scoring 1. If you're going to beat them, you're going to beat them 1-0.
1-0, yeah.
And in all likelihood, they're gonna probably try to get 1 on you. Here's the biggest thing though. It's obviously Isaacs had in the League Cup semifinal had a concussion protocol injury, which kept him out of the game against West Ham, which he really could have been a vital change to be able to have that second striker to bring on or to remove or to replace Wilson in the game. That could have helped. And also St. Max got the start, which was good to see. Like he's going to get back bedded in. Yeah. And of course, Gordon made his debut as well and ran around and did absolutely nothing.
Can I try my hand at a transition?
Please.
Much like both of these next 2 sides.
Well, really, it's 12 sides, Sam, but we'll go ahead and give you that transition. I'll give you that one.
Well,
rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. We have Chelsea 0, Fulham 0, Leicester 4, Villa 2, Brentford 3, Southampton 0, Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0, Man U 2, Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 1, Leeds 0. Fulham, This is the first 4-pointer since the 1975 season over Chelsea. It is the first time since 2002-2003 that they have not lost both matches to Chelsea in a West London derby. So, good.
You said first 4-pointer since when?
1975.
1975. Melissa.
I was not born yet.
He was, though, which is the point of this. How does 2-year-old Sam remember that? Was that fond memories?
It was
of
a
that
great
when
memory.
that happened?
I remember getting up, turning on the old black and white, and watching it with me pops. Yeah, it was lovely.
She ate a meat pie.
Yeah, had a meat pie. It was lovely. Yeah, had a cup of tea.
DiCaprio there serving you said meat pie. Did you have a choice in the matter? I'm confused.
No, he was out with my aunt. She was 19 at the time.
Oh, brilliant. It also happens to be from Israel, strangely enough. Brilliant.
You know
Those
what?
Jokes and more. Sound check.
Patreon.com/do
You know what?
show.
Another West London derby and another West London derby that did not disappoint. Fulham played tough and resolute.
Oh, yeah.
Chelsea
Despite the possession difference,
Yeah.
I mean, Fulham had equal amount of chances. I think they were down 1 shots on target, but actually outshot Chelsea overall. They forced their £108 million signing in Mudryk, or £104 million signing in Mudryk off at halftime, just because of tactics, because he was playing like shit. The funniest meme I saw was Chelsea really spent $104 million on the girl from Bend It Like Beckham. Which was enjoyable because they have the same haircut.
That meme gets a lot of play.
So funny. Yes, it does. It is so funny
because he looks exactly like her.
Right, and then Enzo Fernandez. Look, he had one decent effort, but other than that, I didn't think it was a particularly encouraging debut from him after the latest $108 million that they threw out into the ether. Both teams really lacked the cutting edge in this game. At the end of the day. But there was some lovely stuff played up and down the field from both sides, really.
But Fulham's at the bridge. Are they really looking for a cutting edge,
No,
or are they looking to get
they're
out?
looking for a draw.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they got it. So, boom, good for them. They sit above, I think, 4 places above them in the fucking table right now.
And for Chelsea, this is 2 games in a row you didn't lose, where that's not necessarily been the case. So, defensively, maybe starting to figure it out a little bit, might be able to, use this as a platform to try to figure out the rest of the team. Let's see, this core of defenders maybe get a couple games in a row, see if they can't continue this nice defensive run. Much like the first time this has happened since 1973, any sexual encounter you've been a part of, both sides leave happy. That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
Villa comes out swinging, but ultimately, shitty defensive effort from that team.
Terrible.
God, they looked horrible.
I thought we were supposed to be ready for Unai Emery defense. What happened?
Yeah. Told you so?
About what? You said we were going to be defensive. We're very offensive, not very defensive.
I think that's more of a personnel situation rather than him. But Ollie Watkins obviously got things going early on with a rebound. Madison said, fuck you, equalized 3 minutes later.
Yeah, but can I dwell on that Ollie Watkins?
That was the Iheanacho. Madison was the third. No, Madison was the fourth, I thought. Number 1 and 2 were both Iheanacho.
No, Iheanacho, I don't know.
No,
Iheanacho scored once. I don't know.
Iheanacho had 2.
Let's take a gander.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mel. Finish your thought
I
about.
was just saying the Watkins goal. That was a guy. He's been hungry for goals this entire season, and he's finally on a roll. And that's that never say quit. We saw a lot of that from Villa, despite the loss. I really liked that Watkins was following through on his goal. Buendia was there at every time, and the 2 times that Emi Martinez got pulled out of the goal. Both times when he got beat, first time Tyrone Mings coming full speed, trying to get that slide as a last minute block. Second time it was DL coming in full speed. Villa never gave up. We've got a fire, and I'm very encouraged by this team despite that I might have fallen asleep during the last 10 minutes of the game.
It was just an off day at the office for Villa. Ultimately, the other thing I would say
the team was better.
I don't know why this thought just popped in my head,
What?
but based on what you said, all I can think about now is Unai Emery doing a karaoke version of "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel. For some reason.
And I'd pay money to see that.
Like our boy Mark did with all the signings from Nottingham Forest on our 20 supporters show.
Yes,
it was fucking brilliant. The other thing too that I think ultimately helps Mr. Watkins, by the way, is the fact that Unai Emery just flat out said, "You know what? You're my fucking striker," and then sold the other striker. Like, that tells the kid, "You're my guy. Period. End of discussion."
You could just put him on the bench so there is a backup plan, but now you're a little short in attack.
Yep.
James Maddison got the first goal, 12 minutes. Iniacho assisted that goal.
Okay.
He scored himself on 41, then assisted in the 47th for Tete's, and then Dennis Pratt scored in the 79th.
Okay, I could have sworn that
he assisted twice and scored once.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Heard. My apologies, sir. You write good notes, and I just decided to shit all over you.
I appreciate it.
Much like Everton did to Arsenal at Goodison Park this weekend.
Much like Leonardo DiCaprio did to... Fuck it, never mind.
Casemiro. Let's get out of Casemiro's
Actually, probably
I
Marilyn
do have
Manson,
a new meme coming very soon.
I can't see it.
The 4 stages of Malört. I already sent you guys a copy of it.
Oh, great. Brilliant.
You're not going to get that meme on me because I don't take my Malört like a little bitch.
Right.
Anyways, up the Villa, I wasn't discouraged. Good hustle and so much man love. I love all the man love that Villa has for one another. Cheers.
While she's doing that, the second best bum at Villa.
Again, injured.
No, he's the first best bum at Villa.
Oh, Ashley's the second best.
Ashley's the best. Come on. Or second best, rather. Did you see her get a little feisty this weekend?
No, I did not.
She got tackled, left on the ground, kind of looking around like, what the fuck? No call. I don't know how long later it was, but it was a real video, so it just kind of cut to she was walking away, which I enjoyed, and then she fucking just leveled this girl. Absolutely fucking leveled this girl, like scissored the whole nine. Well, I can't say that there. It's like a scissor tackle.
Right. Got you. The scissor tackle.
Not a Casemiro Pornhub search.
Absolutely. We got you.
Actually, that's probably a David Luiz Pornhub search in it. The old scissoring. Fuck me.
All right.
Which you can find at Everton's new North Stand, the Brazzer stand of the new stadium they'll be playing in the championship in.
All right. Keeping it moving. Bees cruise at home, man. The Bees are just cruising along, man. If they're playing in their building, they are damn near impossible to beat.
Yeah, Southampton actually had more shots on target than Brentford did. However, Brentford were absolutely fucking ruthless. Only 4 shots on target, scored on 3 of them, obviously. Mbeumo, Wissa, and Wissa didn't score. He hit the post. He hit the actual angle. It was Mbeumo, Janelt, and Ivan Toney were the 3 goals.
No, I thought Ben Mee was number 1 and Mbeumo was number 2.
Maybe Janelt missed also.
Yeah. But
why am I forgetting this all of a sudden?
It's all good.
Normally don't do that.
But the key thing was those 2 goals.
Fucking 99 peaches went straight to my head.
Those first 2 goals were in the 41st and like the 44th. And honestly, you come out in the second half and you're Brentford, you don't need to go get the match.
No.
So sometimes you see stats like, oh, Southampton outshot Brentford. Well, it's probably because Brentford sat back and said, fuck off.
Right, yeah, no, exactly. Ivan Toney actually got a card.
Oh, okay, got it.
Which I just assumed since his name was on the score sheet, he scored.
It was a goal, yeah.
It had to be, right?
Good.
Yeah, it wasn't.
All good.
Nope.
Saints need their new transfers to bed in quick because there's no sinking like a stone. They are the fucking stone. They've got to fix this shit.
100%. So I don't like searching for Southampton news, as you might imagine. So I do have to appreciate Kenny on this for getting in touch and letting me know what's happening with Southampton, since I won't look at it willingly.
Right.
Somebody who is with NBC Sports, Joe Prince Wright, never heard, double barrel last name, Joe, and then Prince Wright, verified, pays his $8 a month. But at JPW_NBC Sports. So I assume he's a journalist. Quote, "You don't know what you're doing" is the chant from Southampton fans in the away end at Brentford as Nathan Jones takes off Lavia and Dozy with the Saints 2-0 down. Deja vu this as hashtag SaintsFC fans saying the same to Ralph Hasenhüttl towards the end of last season. Now, why that's important is Nathan Jones's comments after the game.
Mm-hmm.
Statistically, there weren't many better than me in Europe. This is him talking. We spent next to nothing at Luton and produced pound for pound. I've compromised my principles because of personnel and the way people want to play, because of fans and so on, but no more. I've listened to people, and it's been to my detriment. I've compromised too much. What you've seen today, that's not the way my teams play. I've let everyone down because I was brought in to drive the standards, and that wasn't good enough today. I've allowed certain things to happen and gone away from what's made me successful in the past. I think those are smack of a man under a tremendous amount of pressure, and I don't know how much longer he lasts in the job. If he's talking like that already.
And if they go to a third manager before the end of the season, that is typically the kiss of fucking death right there.
Yep.
That is absolutely positively the kiss of fucking death.
100%.
They're really, I mean,
Frank Lampard's available.
I hate to say it. You can't play Everton every week.
Steven Gerrard's available.
Well, I'm sorry. Correction. You can't play Frank Lampard's Everton every single week. In fact, you can't play Frank Lampard's Everton anymore.
Neil Warnock's available. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm them and the next team we're about to talk about. I have very little faith for as far as staying up, and that goes into Brighton beating Bournemouth. I'll talk about Bournemouth first, and then we'll go ahead and no, you know what? Brighton's quick. How the hell does Ferguson not score when he gets 3 fucking opportunities in the first fucking 10 minutes of the match?
I don't know. That was the funniest bit. And that was Dennis Undav.
Okay, Undav, yeah.
It was Undav. 10 chances in 10 seconds.
Oh, because you know what? Because if it was Ferguson, he would have put one of them.
Would have put one of those fuckers away for sure.
One of them would have went in the back of the net.
Shot hit a defender. Shot hit the post. Shot hit the goalkeeper. Shot hit a defender. Shot hit the post. It was very fucking funny.
It was hysterical.
Finally went out of. That's really the funniest thing that happened. The rest of the game, you could hear the
Benny Hill music going in the background.
Benny Hill or the Curb Your Enthusiasm music. Either one of those would be absolutely fitting. You're right. But what's his name? Matoma.
Yeah.
My autocorrect changed it to Miriam.
Nice.
Knew that wasn't his name. Matoma with the goods again. Finally, laid on again as he did against Liverpool in the FA Cup. Was it FA Cup?
Yeah, it was the FA Cup.
Where he scored late. Did it again here, 81st minute, I think it was. But it was a pretty frustrating day for the Seagulls. I mean, Bournemouth stuck to their task and made it difficult for them. But they were the better team, and they didn't let their heads drop. They just kept it going. So
yeah, it's for Bournemouth. We were talking about this in October. We were like, they're already slipping. They're already slipping. And in November, they were already slipping. And then they had that magical week against Frank Lampard's Everton. And then after that, they've been slipping. And they got the one draw.
When he first took charge, they were what? No losses in 6 or something?
Yeah.
They had like 3 wins, 2 draws or something like that? Or 3 wins, 3 draws?
He was brought on so early, though, too.
Yep.
Yeah, Parker was out quick.
Very quick.
Yeah.
So, but after that, it's been dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute dog shit.
And I don't see where they're going to find a way to survive, to be honest with you. I really don't.
I think they're down.
Because now, I just don't see where they're going to do it. I really don't.
Me either.
Moving on. Manchester United, Crystal Palace. Rashford scores again. Fernandes scores on a penalty. Yay. Why Casemiro got to choke a bitch?
So, Will Hughes, if you'd said to me before this game started, because he hasn't played for Palace for quite a while, I think, that if you told me before the game that Will Hughes would have the biggest part to play in the entire thing, I'd be like, you're fucking nuts. Mm-hmm. He's the one that gave the penalty away with his hands, with the handball in the box, shying away from a cross. And then he was the one that got choked by Casemiro. Both hands, and then he got bitch slapped. Casemiro backhanded him.
I like to think that Casemiro pulled Wayne Brady in the Dave Chappelle show.
Yeah.
This is missing other benchmen. Is Wayne Brady going to have to choke a bitch? Is that? I mean, I try to be nice. That's it. I'm going to get out of this car and just put his hands on Williams. Like, how do you not know VAR is going to see two hands around the throat?
You're one of the only players that has gloves on as well.
And VAR loves to isolate the worst part of the video and put it up on
In
a
the
giant
slowest motion
screen
possible, yeah.
and a giant screen for the ref to walk right up and go, oh yeah, he's choking him, and turn right back around and hand him the red card.
Now, I am, with as baby-faced as he is and as surprised as he was to get the red card, I almost felt bad for him. He almost convinced me. And then I remembered what he did.
Yeah.
And then I rewound and recorded it so I could wank to it later.
You have to, it sucks that you're now going to miss him for,
because I'm into that kind of kink.
Yeah, that's violent conduct. So that's 3. That's going to be 3 he's going to miss. So you miss him for both of the Roses rivalry matches, which that's the kind of match.
Be fine.
Well, but that's the kind of match you fucking need that guy for, especially a team that's playing on the edge of their fucking life and they just let go of their manager and all that crazy shit. Like, that's exactly the game you need that fucker for. And he's now out for both of them.
Also, news coming out of Manchester this week. Our good friend, not good friend, actually not even a friend, Mason Greenwood. Charges were dropped.
Right.
Manchester United is now conducting an internal investigation to decide whether or not to reinstate his contract.
Okay. Very good.
Still have not decided whether or not to do it. Yeah.
It's good that they're doing it independently because I don't want to get too deep into it, but the charges were dropped because there was a reconciliation.
There was, correct. A few character witnesses and the primary witness decided to back out of testifying.
So
supposedly.
And that is between two adults, but I think we can all read and base our own opinions from it, which everyone can have their own opinions. I do think that it is good that the club, as this is a contracted player, I think they're a private entity. I do think they have the right to look at that. And if they feel that all of this has been unbecoming,
detrimental to their brand, blah, 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 blah,
they
blah.
need to release him from his contract, I think it's perfectly fair.
100%. The other thing, though, that I will say about this, there's a couple of things at play here. Given the nature of what he was alleged to have done, and given the factual evidence of what we saw on Saturday, is Casemiro potentially a very bad influence?
You're fucking wrong. That's wrong.
Is that we should take a look at that and maybe keep those two apart, is all I'm saying.
So Forest hasn't lost at home since September, dude. They have not lost at home since September.
Well, they did have a month off in there.
Yeah, but
that's just elongated. That's like the World War and Portsmouth claiming they held the FA Cup for 4 years.
Right.
But that's because it wasn't played.
But they figured out a way. They figured out a way to win at home again.
Yes.
1-0. Brennan Johnson goal. They've now signed after the transfer window, I believe, 467 new players to their roster now.
At least, yes.
That's fucking insanity. And at the end of all of that, this morning reported that Jesse Marsch has been let go by Leeds.
Yes. They haven't won since November, and they've only won twice all season.
Yeah.
Or, well, twice since August, the end of August, rather. How did Keylor Navas end up at Forest? Does anyone know?
Just did.
From PSG to Forest. Did anybody think that he knew who Forest were?
He had no idea who the fuck
Not
Forest
a clue,
is.
Right? When he turns up, stadium's full. He's like, oh, great, brilliant, look at this.
And
played his ass off, too. Couple of great saves in that game from Keylor Navas, the old CONCACAF captain.
Is historically one of the greatest keepers of all time. I mean, he's incredible, but
Pascal Struijk had a bad day at the office.
Yes, he did.
Early yellow, which put him on the rocks, and then a half-hearted clearance is the one that Gibbs White put the free kick in. Little half-hearted header, and Brennan Johnson with that volley, fucking gorgeous, gorgeous goal there. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Leeds wasted a ton of chances.
That's why I just kind of painted over that because it's just time to talk about Jesse.
I didn't see them improving under Jesse anymore.
Yeah,
they had
the
that
problem.
They had that bit where they're defensively they look more organized and they were better.
I don't.
But
I'd argue no.
that kind of fell by the wayside again. And then they also weren't scoring goals.
It was better defense than Bielsa, but it was still horrific defense.
But it was also worse attack.
Yeah.
They didn't score as many goals they did under Bielsa. And part of that was a Bamford injury. However, that's part of what killed Bielsa too, was the Bamford injury. He's starting to get a tune out of Rodrigo, but he's now out for 2 months after ankle surgery.
Well, and you also couple that with, let's face it, they lost 2 of their best players.
Yeah.
Over the transfer window.
Yep.
That's definitely going to have an effect on you.
Of course. How annoyed would you be if you were not Tyler Adams, the other one, Weston McKennie?
Yeah.
How annoyed would you be? Oh, I'm going to go play for an American. This is going to be great. 48 hours later, he gets fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was more like a week, but they only had 1 game. That's funny.
I legitimately start to fear for Leeds now.
Yep.
I really do. I think.
Who are they going to get?
Yeah, it's right. And it's not that they don't have the talent to be there. I think they do. I just think that the teams around them in Everton and Wolves have made at least changes.
Yep. You're
and
absolutely
are
right.
going to be better.
So I'll always go down my favorite managerial short list simply for the tweets, for the post-match, for all that stuff. Warnock, it's got to be up there for me. And then
Sparky.
Roy the Boy.
Make it Sparky.
Mark Hughes.
Sparky.
You know who seems to want to get back into football? That would be a joy. Alan Pardew. See the old Yorkshire shuffle on the sidelines.
Fucking fantastic.
I'd love it.
Well, it's Marsh. Marsh has now been let go, which we all now know means inevitably
U.S. national team.
U.S. national team.
Sure money.
It's not even ironic anymore. I'm down $2,000 fucking dollars. Sucks. This sucks. And it all happened the first game on my docket, which was Arsenal Everton.
Yep. Well,
so why don't you tell us what you did there, big boy?
Villa and Newcastle killed my bet, so I'm down $1,268.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
And my couple losers reads perfectly. Seriously, Mel?
Y'all put way too much pressure on Villa this week.
No shit.
I had a feeling, and I should have bet money for Arsenal and Villa to both lose.
Okay.
Graham, did you know that 10.526316% of the time? It works 100% of the time, big boy.
It's such a damning stat.
Alrighty. Fuck it. 100 on Everton to win the derby, plus 550. Going for it, baby.
Just plus 550? That's
just plus 550.
Wow. I thought it'd be like a plus 2,500.
They just, you know what? It's the bookies see Everton at Anfield coming over the horizon, and they're going, slump buster for fucking Liverpool. Here comes a 4-0 to Liverpool. We know that's happening, right? Suddenly everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to, sorry, I'll shut up.
Yeah,
Run your
this is
segment.
my segment, twat. We have a caller.
We do have a caller.
And now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend, Pat's Pick of the Week.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. How are you?
I can't complain.
There you go. How was, you haven't had your first day not carrying around Fireball?
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, I had my first day selling it. It's not fun.
Why? Because there's ordering too many cases?
No, there's just too much to do. Just too many SKUs. It's hard.
Oh, yeah, man. You have like 10 different 50 mils alone, and they order multiple of them.
Multiple types of them, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. It was literally the emptiest my truck has ever looked on my Thursday route.
I bet.
Last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough.
It's all right, I guess. I don't know.
All right, great. So what do you got go? How'd you do last week?
I personally, my bet didn't do good, but like the outcome, me losing was well worth it because I picked a draw in the Everton Arsenal, and Arsenal just ended up shitting the bed, and Everton beat them. So
that's fine.
That's weird. That hasn't been brought up much tonight.
No, not at all. Hasn't been brought up at all.
You're very neighborly of your Tottenham to help us out.
Yeah, well, and then that was the other one. I had Man City over Tottenham, and Tottenham ended up. So even if I would have won the first 3 legs of my parlay, I still would have been happy with losing the last leg. So
right,
yeah. So I'm down $12.01, I believe, because I still owe you $1.
He's still ahead of me. Damn
So
it.
collectively, wait a second. Collectively, we are down 4,400 and change,
Yeah.
and we've all got $100 at risk.
And
Doesn't the chicken
chicken's-
like bring us up a little bit?
No, the chicken's at 500.
Yeah, the chicken's
Oh,
on
shit.
her own shit. She's beating us.
Yeah, but still losing.
It's all those omega 3s.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. All right. So what do you got this week there, Bub?
This week I'm actually gonna, I don't know, hopefully win. Got a 2-game parlay, and hopefully it hits. I mean, it's not outrageous or anything. So I'm gonna go with Chelsea over West Ham and Tottenham over Leicester. And I can, anytime I say that team, it's just gonna be a fucking shit show.
All right,
So,
Tottenham over Worcestershire,
No,
Middle
no.
Earth. Got it.
Tottenham. Tottenham.
Tottenham over Worcestershire sauce. Got it.
Leicester. That's all it is. It looks like Leicester, but it's Leicester.
It's like Leicester, Leicester to Leicester.
Yes.
Same name as
All
your
right,
buddy.
Don't confuse that with Leonardo DiCaprio. Apparently, some people in Mel's feminist group are.
Yeah. You know.
Bad.
Yeah, so that pays off just $370 on a $100 bet. But I'll hopefully make some money to blow it on the Super Bowl.
There
Very
you go.
good.
Perfect.
So,
Oh,
you
what
guys
you think?
got anything going?
Real quick, I wanted to get your opinion on this, just briefly, real fast. What was your opinion of the Pro Bowl being a flag football game?
I did not watch it, but it's fine. I mean, it's always kind of been a flag football game, anyways. Nobody really ever hits it. But I do love
Sean
how Sean Taylor's replay of taking the punter out always circulates during the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, of course. But this was just so bad. Most of them were in bucket hats with glasses. Like, it just did not matter.
No. they
At
did
all.
not.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't watch it. I watched a little bit of the NHL All-Star game,
Which
and
is
that's
also
terrible.
stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah,
They weren't
exactly.
they weren't even skating fast.
No.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad weekend for All-Star events. Good for Todd Bowley.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it as always.
All right. See you next week.
All right.
Talk to you next. When I see you, I'll talk to you.
All right.
Bye
All
now.
right. Bye.
Bye now. Okay.
Pat's brilliant. I love that.
I did that pause on purpose. You know that, right? All right, okay, let's go.
Let him go.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So got beat by the little inchworm that could is my cup of losers. There you go. So I have a 4-game parlay starting with Wednesday's match. Manchester United to beat Leeds, managerless Leeds. Brighton to win El Gatwico over Crystal Palace. Arsenal over Brentford. And Wolves over Southampton. That $100 pays $989.
Very good.
I think that's a pretty decent shout.
It's a solid little shout. It really is.
Arsenal have been pretty good at home, obviously. It's been a fortress at the Emirates. Now, Brentford are rolling. So that really is the toss-up
Yeah.
here.
Brentford doesn't play well on the road, though. They've had a tough time on the road. Remember, they had that 0-0 that they just kind of barely got out of against Leeds?
Yep.
They really haven't looked good on the road.
Yep.
Well, that's
So we'll see how it goes.
not a bad segment, despite me stepping all over it, which I
It's all right.
apologize,
It's
sir, my
okay.
good friend.
Tried
I'm
to
just-
do that when I was driving a bus the other day. I'm used to it by now.
Look, I just
Welcome to my world.
I'm like a
I'm-
19-year-old girl in the situation.
well, I'm
no
not allowed to
autonomy for your own choices.
Did you just call me Leo?
For my own hosting.
If you just compared me to Leo, that's almost as good as a chicken.
I think it's rude to refer to the women as chickens, Sam.
Well, Kitty should have stuck with her guy.
Yes, she should have.
But now she's lost 2 in a row and sits at 10-10. Has she ever picked Everton to win?
Not once.
Not once. She's a smart chicken. This week, I gave Kitty Chelsea heading to West Ham. So she showed me some exclusive footage of her with owner Todd Bowley on transfer deadline day, assisting him in getting the deal done for World Cup winner Enzo Fernandez.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's always behind the scenes on those stuff.
Oh, yes, she is.
Now,
She's an influential poultry.
She is an influential poultry. Now, we know Kitty has ties to the Argentine national team and clearly had a play in that record transfer fee. And so she sees Chelsea winning at West Ham.
Very good. Very good. I would have thought you would have fucked up Bowley, but then Sam said Bowley like 2 seconds before.
I like how you assume I even listened to Sam at all.
What?
You obviously do, because we always gang up on him.
Well, I know you never listened to me, because if you did,
That's the truth.
you would remember to gamble legally and responsibly.
Championship corner.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Oh, no.
West Brom beat Coventry 1-0 in an enthralling match on February 3rd. That was your Friday. On Saturday, Burnley roll on 3-0 over Norwich City. Rotherham and Sheffield United played to a 0-0 draw. Huddersfield and QPR 1-1. Hull and Cardiff. Hull 1-0 over Cardiff. Luton 1-0 over Stoke. Maybe Nathan Jones went back and had a wee weekend. Played more of a part in that game than he did his own. Borough 3-0 over Blackpool. Millwall 1-1 with Sunderland. Bristol City 2-1 over Preston. Reading and Watford played to a 2-2 draw. Birmingham 4-3. Big winners in a barn burner of a game against Swansea. Nothing on Sunday. And Monday turned back Blackburn and Wigan being 0-0. That leaves your table looking like Burnley on top. 29 games played. Same as Sheffield United. 65 points with a plus 32 goal differential. Sheffield United are in second on 58. Middlesbrough are in third on 48 points. So the top two really pulling away now. Sheffield United only having a plus 24 goal differential. So Burnley have that extra point in terms of the goal differential being plus 8 over Sheffield United. Middlesbrough plus 12 goal differential on 48. Luton in fourth on 48 points, but only 29 games played, where Middlesbrough has played 30 on plus 8. Watford on 45 points plus 3, but 30 games played, so they could have a further Luton and Middlesbrough, just Luton, sorry, could have a further 3-point lead on them should they win. West Brom up to 6th on 44 points with a plus 9. Blackburn is in 7th place on 44 points as well, but a minus 4 goal differential. Millwall in 8th on 43. Sunderland in 9th on 42. Norwich in 10th on 42. Preston North End on 40 and 11th. And Hull City is in 12th place on 40 points as well. Both of those two teams have negative goal differentials, where the three in front of them, Millwall, Sunderland, and Norwich, all have a positive one. So still a lot of change could happen. One win takes 10th into 5th.
Very good.
So
Very good.
Getting kind of jumbled up as usual in the championship. The top two really are pulling well and clear away.
Yeah, they are
here. Your bottom half of the table is going to turn back. Wigan being at the foot of the table on 26 points in 29 games. The two teams in front of them, sadly enough, have a game in hand on them, and that's Blackpool on 26 points. They also have a 7 better goal differential than Wigan at minus 15, where Wigan's is minus 22. Huddersfield is at minus 10 goal differential on 27 points in 22nd place. Cardiff finds himself right in the thick of it on 29 points, but 30 games played. So the two teams behind them have 2 games in hand on them, and they have a worse goal differential at a minus 12 than the 22nd place team, Huddersfield Town. Rotherham not out of it yet. Also, they're on 29 games on 32 points. So again, those two clubs in the relegation zone have the game in hand and can put some pressure on them. Stoke in 19th on 33 and Birmingham in 18th on 35. They seem to be out of it, but they're still not out of it completely. Wild scenes down in the championship. It's going to be a fun end of the season for these last 4,348 games.
Excellent. Well, it's going to wrap it up, boys and girls. Sammy, any parting words?
It's a lot to get through that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
No, I don't really have anything, I don't think.
Not anything too terribly crazy.
No, nothing really wild happened. Despite the jokes and everything, I'm bitterly disappointed about the Mason Greenwood situation. It's not really for me to judge. It's them and their relationship. They got to do what they got to do. But
Nike has released a statement.
Okay.
They stand by their decision. He is not a Nike athlete.
Good. That's nice. Hopefully Manchester United do the same, because there's no place for that. It is absolute garbage. She has to make her own choices. That's fair enough. And if that's the choice she wants to make, that's the choice she wants to make. So It is going to be what it's going to be. You can't win every fight, but there's other ways to punish somebody that is such a piece of shit.
And you hope that the young man maybe learns like Ray Rice did, who, Ray Rice got the book thrown at him. And ever since, Ray Rice has been a proponent for again, being against domestic abuse, going out, working with people and talking about his story and trying to trying to make people better from it, and that's what you hope ultimately comes
He's
from a
still
very
young
horrible
enough that-
situation.
Yeah, still young enough that he can do that. But until he does that,
Yeah.
I'm
the
team,
jury's
not him.
out. Jury's out until he decides to be in the court of public opinion. He's a very bad person, and he has to change that himself. And you change that through your actions and what you do and how you treat people.
100%. So we'll see what happens there. But other than that, there wasn't really much craziness that went on this week in the world. So there you go.
All right, everybody. Next up is injury time, where we're going to talk about the beers we were drinking. We're going to check in on our adopted clubs, and we're going to go ahead and talk about previewing the next week's action.
Yep.
Should somebody want to find it, how do they go about doing it, Mr. Graham?
For the last time today, it is patreon.com/DUFootballShow. Sign up to the $1 tier. You get both of our extra shows at Soundcheck and Injury Time, also known as DU After Dark. And that's all the extra content we got for you, really. There's some other fun stuff that comes along with it, like a President's Day video, which is coming up very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Might reenact the...
I still have the wigs.
Sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, so there could be some fun stuff going on. It's always something happening. Join the closed group on Facebook. That is free to join. But Drunken United FC on Facebook, that's where most of the hashtag bans happen. And a lot of the dank meme sharing is a lot of fun. So get involved.
Until next week, everybody.
Good night.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of Malört. Look straight in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Drunken United! Drunken United! Hit the fucking mute button!